Hey guys, I'm Dav, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer online action. I'm going to be playing the Greenskins. We're facing up against a Vampire Count's opponent. My forces will be led by Azag the Slaughterer, of course. We've got also two Wolf Rider archers here, one of them being the Regiment of Renown Mangy Marauders. We've also got over here Savage Orc Biggins with Savage Orc, just regular Savage Orcs in the main line, backed up by two Black Orcs, the Warlords Boys, and a nice firing line of two Savage Orc Air Boys with the Rusty Airs in the middle, with one unit of Orc War Biggin to shore up the rear. And that's going to be it for my build. My opponent's got two units of Fellbats, front line of Graveguard, with one of them being the Stearnsman, also one is Graveguard with great weapons. And yep, he's got two Black Knights with two Bronze Chevrons. He's also got a unit of Blood Knights here, Vlad von Carstein on foot, Corpse Cart with Unholy Lodestone, and the Claw of Nagash Mortis Engine. So definitely going to be in for probably a pretty long battle with all these healing units around. So we're going to kick things off here. Azag is going to try and chase down these Fellbats and just get them off the field. Although all swarmed up on it, we'll be able to do a surprising amount of damage. So that's going to be tough for me. But we'll go ahead and just take a look here. The Rusty Airs are going to be firing in on these Black Knights, doing some nice armor-piercing damage in their flank. You can see them taking down a couple of unit models there, and definitely some good stuff. These Blood Knights as well are going to be a good target for these Mangy Marauders, so definitely going to be tough for the Vampires to deal with, although they do have plenty of healing around, so it's not going to be as great as it could be, but you know, just trying to do as much skirmishing as we can before they get up in here. You can see Azag dropping a Fate of Buna on these Graveguard with great weapons, so definitely going to be very good there. This fire from the Mangy Marauders into the flank of these Stearnsmen isn't going to be great just because they have regeneration and because of Invocation of Nehek and these other units. Let me actually take a look here. Does the Mortis Engine's effect actually resurrect combatants? I'm curious. Nope, it just replenishes hit points. Yep. Interesting. What about the Unholy Lodestone here? Nope, just replenishes hit points. Okay, so none of these, except for the Invocation of Nehek, none of these actually restore the unit model count. But you can see the Black Knights coming in over here, taking some decent fire from those Savage Orc Air Boys. They're going to charge in, although this unit of Savage Orc Biggins probably isn't the best unit to charge into, just because they have a nice anti-large bonus, and they're going to be able to dish quite a bit of damage in return. You can see Azag taking a bit more damage than he probably should, so I'm going to dispatch these Goblin Wolf Rider archers over here to help deal with the bats, just to free up Azag. Over here, the Blood Knights taking some nice damage from the Mangy Marauders, but they're going to try and charge around this flank. We're going to shore it up with these Savage Orc Biggins and just kind of keep things high and tight here. No reason to go forward towards my opponent, so trying to get these guys to fire on the Blood Knights rather than on these Stearnsmen here. But my opponent getting a decent invocation of the heck here. He's healing up these Graveguard and these Black Knights. You can see the bats are almost dealt with. These Wolf Rider archers, despite their lack of armor piercing, will be able to help take down the bats in short order. So over here, these Blood Knights in a bit of a pickle. They're going to run away from these Orc Biggins, but a couple of their unit models getting dragged down, and the armor piercing fire there from the Mangy Marauders just continuing to whittle them away. And at this point, we've done quite a bit of damage at range, so I'm pretty happy with that. And my opponent's forces are still just trying to push up this hill and get into us over here. So I'm going to finally bring Azag up and around, taking actually about 60% of his HP or so in terms of damage. So that's pretty tough, but nothing crazy. You know, considering it was just two low units of bats, I was pretty surprised how much damage they actually did to him. But, you know, might have to do a bit of testing on that. Bats seem like they could be a decent option. But now, my opponent's forces are kind of moving in here. We're getting this mainline engagement underway. Going to be throwing down a Invocation to heck to heal up those Blood Knights. That's a pretty good call, but now the focus fire is getting very, very real. Look at how quick this Claw of Nagash is dropping. I mean, it was very, very healthy a couple seconds ago, and it's already almost dead. One more volley from each of these, and it's pretty much going to go down. So yeah, the focus fire is very, very real from the boys, the Shootah Boyz. They've sufficiently dealt with the Claw of Nagash. Now they're turning their attention to focus fire on the Crypt Horrors. They're getting punished really, really hard. My opponent trying to summon up some zombies here to muck up these Savage Orcs, but it's a bit late for those Crypt Horrors. They're going to be going down very shortly, and we are dropping a Soul Blight in here just to sunder the armor of the Sternsmen and the Graveguard with great weapons a little bit. Unfortunately, my Savage Orcs did break just when I threw that down, but, you know, it's still going to help these other units deal fairly effectively here. And we are bringing, my opponent's trying to push through with his Black Knights into the rear line, but they're just getting mucked up by Savages, or excuse me, Blood Knights. They did charge into Savage Orcs, though. They got a little bit countercharged by Azag, and they were trying to pull through these biggins. My opponent is bringing up around more Black Knights, though, over on this flank. You can see my Wolf Riders have used most of their ammo, so they're just kind of sitting back there waiting for the right moment to strike. But on this flank, my opponent's going to continue to just try and push through. But, you know, Savage Orc Air Boys are no pushovers. They're pretty decent melee. They've got 32 attack at least, only 8 melee defense, but 38 weapon strength is decent as well. So, I mean, the Black Knights don't have great combat stats overall. Blood Knights are decent, but it's not going to be great. You can see more focus fire coming in on this corpse cart now, just trying to negate all the healing that the vampires have. And Fate of Buna going off on these Black Knights as they rush past Azag. He's not going to be able to, unfortunately, pin too many of them in place, so they will get through. But again, you can see them doing some shock damage to the Savage Orc Air Boys, but not a ton. So it's not too great. Meanwhile, these other units are still able to fire. The Rusty Air is unfortunately getting caught up by some Skeleton Warriors, but we've got some Savage Orc Biggins here to support, so they should be able to pull through this just fine. The Savage Orcs just... Savage Orc Air Boys continuing to deal quite a bit of damage. You can see now getting countercharged by these Orc Boar Boy Biggins. These Black Knights are really, really suffering now. Despite them tying up a lot of these missile units, you can see they're not going to do a whole lot of damage, and they are going to get, you know, crumbled by all these tough units. Here in the front line, the vampire units just didn't have what it took to stand up. Graveguard with great weapons are decent, but they're no match for Black Orcs. And all these Savages as well, and now we've got a rear charge with the Mangy Marauders and these other units just to try and set these guys really into crumbling. But we did get the Wolf Rider Archers in the corpse cart here for a moment, but my opponent bringing Vlad back. But, you know, realizing that most of his forces are crumbled at this point, decides to admit defeat, and probably right about that. Let's see. So yeah, this is an interesting build. I definitely see what my opponent was going for here, using the Claw of Nagash to tear away hit points, Corpse Cart, and you know, a lot of healing just to try and keep these kind of elite, you know, armored forces in the fight. But personally, against the Greenskins, I would tweak this build in a few ways. First of all, cut maybe the Fellbats, and cut this Corpse Cart, just because Corpse Carts are pretty slow, and they'll be able to be caught by a lot of these Greenskin units. So I definitely agree with the pick of the Claw of Nagash. The terror is good, the regen's good, and the damage, all that's good stuff. So if you cut this, cut the 2 bats, maybe upgrade these to Black Knights with lances. That way you get a little bit more shock damage out of them, and maybe one of them could be the Varix Reavers. That way you have the regeneration as well to make them a bit tankier. And other than that, you know, I kind of see what he was going for, just because the Graveguard actually did very, very well against the Savage Orcs, despite having taken quite a bit of damage. And, you know, the Sternsmen doing decently as well. They kind of took a bit more of a beating. But, yeah, man, that burst damage from the Savage Orc Air Boys and the Rusty Airs just took down that Claw of Nagash so fast. I was really surprised when that happened. I mean, I shouldn't be. The Shootah Boyz are pretty powerful. People underestimate, but Orcs can definitely get it done with their missile infantry, especially with the Rusty Airs. And, yeah, the infantry just doing what they need to clean up. Lots of kills on these Black Orcs. Savage Orc Biggins getting a Chevron. Azag doing decent. Taking a bit of damage to those Fellbats. That was pretty surprising. But, yeah, pulled through in the end, so... Hope you guys enjoyed watching that. Definitely enjoyed playing it. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer every single day. So keep it right here for more, and we'll see you next time.